everybody. Hello, welcome back. Nice to see so many of you. Nice to see you. And I'll just wait till, I'm waiting till audios are connected so that everybody can hear me, and then I will start. Really nice to hear everybody, and I don't know where you're all from, but it's really good to have you with us. Tonight, I have a guest that we already had before. So, but before I come to him, let me a little bit say something about why you're here and about this series. It has changed a little bit, so let me just introduce that to you for the ones who are here for the very first time. You are on It's Your Life series. It's Your Life has started on the 1st of April, and we had the pleasure of having so many wonderful, amazing speakers talk to you about all kinds of tips, tools, techniques, tricks, tips about well-being, about breathing, about everything that has to do with psychology, with the mind, with the physical health, with wellness, with lots more. I hope you enjoyed this series, and I hope that you were able to join us on the call. If not, you always have the option to go to my website, mindyourpower.org. It's Your Life, all speakers, and listen to all the replays. Now, we did that for 6 weeks daily. And then, because there was so much now, and it is really amazing how many people are online, how much information, how much knowledge is being shared all over the world. So it is really great to see how people are sticking together and sharing whatever they know. Now, since there is so much, we have decided to go weekly instead of daily. Plus, I have my evenings back. And so now you have It's Your Life every Tuesday live at the same time, this time. So it is 8 p.m. in Dubai. It is 7 p.m. where Danielle is with us now in Beirut, and do the math for wherever you are. For the ones who don't know me, my name is Abdulrahim-Santl. I'm the owner of Mind Your Power, with the headquarters in Dubai and a little office in Beirut. And Mind Your Power, it's all about your power. It's all about recognizing the mind. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today, because it is about psychology today. However, it is a very interesting kind of psychology. Ghanimé is, he's a hypnotherapist. He's a hypnotherapy coach. But what I wanted to say, now I just confused too many words in one. What I wanted to say, he is a morpho-psychologist. What that is, he will explain to you much better than I even could start doing. It has to do with the face. It has to do with understanding the face and how you recognize characters and you recognize the psychology in the face of people. Let's let Danielle talk to us tonight about morpho-psychology. I am very curious and very happy to have you with us again, Danielle. Welcome.
Yeah, same here. When I start, when I ask you about the subject, if we're gonna put it here, it's gonna be like, okay, what the hell is that? Everybody is asking me. You put this title, morpho-psychologist, hypnotherapist. Okay, hypnotherapist is complicated by itself. So if we look at it this way, if hypnotherapy is as complicated, what is morpho-psychology? Is it psychology? Is it, some people, they mix it with gesticulation, reading body language. No, it's not. So today, I would like to say hello, everyone. For the ones that are, watching the replay afterwards, hello again. So I'm going to dive into this kind of presentation / conference / you can cut me anytime you want and ask any question. So I will share my my screen, obviously, plenty of images. So that's basically it. Morpho-psychology is quite a frame of, let's say, face readers. if we can put it this way. But yet my, you know, la Société Française de Morpho-psychology, if I say face readers, they will hit me. So this is the case. Okay, so let's put it this way. It is a tool that can be used by therapists, by recruiters, by criminologists, by salesmen, consultants, managers, you name it. So if you had the luxury of reading someone's face, how much would you pay for it? You will read it, like you see someone, and then you know almost what is it all about. But so let me start with putting it this way. So what is morphopsychology? That's me, Daniel, myself, a morphopsychologist of the French Society of Morpho-psychology and a hypnotherapist. I put the NGH among other you know, bodies that I'm part of. So basically, we have an agenda. Whoa, we have an agenda here about the presentation. But as I said, if you, how much would you pay to read someone's face like a book? How much would you do, or what would you do to see your compatibility with other people, the way to deal with other people? How should you react and interact with them? Should you shut up? Should you keep going? Should you give them information? Should you conceal? Should, you know, plenty of things are gonna go through this presentation, but the basics of this, it's not judgment, okay? So most of the people, they think, okay, I look to the face of someone, and then I say, I hate this person, or I can't stand it. I can't stay in the same room with this person. And basically, this is the first impression. Yet, I managed through time that sometimes I get itchy around some people, and then I go, you know, I go through the process of analyzing it morphopsychologically, and you see that this person becomes appealing, because it is not the first impression for us as morphopsychologists. It's not the first impression that count, rather than the analysis of every single bit of the face, and then you will be amazed. It's like you have maybe 10, I will discuss maybe 7 out of 10 components. So you can imagine that how many possibilities that you can put together. So basically, when you say like you have 4, 5, 6, 7 personalities or whatever it is, you end up having like 9 million something. So it is not about judging, it's about understanding. That's why I said we will never judge someone without knowing the whole story. You might think you understand, but you don't. So the first thing we're gonna dive into, what is it? Okay, is it an art? Is it a science? Is it? So actually, it's a mix of everything. It's a part of every single component of the life that we go through. It is an art, yet it is not. It is mathematics, yet it is not. It is a part psychology and analysis, yet it is not. So it as much as it depends on the way you do the analysis, theoretically speaking, as much as it is dependent on the on the morphopsychologist, him or herself, in the way you can be very observative and very analytical, and you will be able to fetch small stuff in the face that it will change your way of thinking. So does it work? Yes, it does, very much. So when you start, when you start studying it, actually it takes 2 years, by the way. When you start studying it, you think like, okay, does it work or not? And then for the first 2 hours, you start analyzing. That's what will happen to you now. Usually when I do that in front of, like an audience, I call people on stage. So I do a small rapid analysis, but yet in here it's going to be a bit, like awkward. First, we're going live on Facebook, so I'm not going to analyze anyone, not to disclose any internal information. but you will enjoy the rest of it. So I'm not gonna go into details of the history, but I'm gonna put it just more or less like we say about hypnosis. It started thousands of years ago. It started actually with Egyptian priests. This is why how they used to pick and recruit. Okay, that's recruitment. How they used to pick their own disciples or apprentices under, you know, they did that. They read their faces, they analyzed them, and they saw the amount of receptivity and how they will do that. And then we went through the whole knowledge went to Greece. Everything goes from Greece. Good food too. Anyway, so it started with plenty of philosophers that we know and plenty of mathematicians, even you know, like medicine, like medical doctors, if we can call them. So even that, it went through the years in Greece, and what happened later on, it just almost disappeared. But the Arabs kicked in. Okay, they took this knowledge. We know it in the Arabic, we call it ilm al-firasa. So it's the Arabs took this knowledge and then they worked on it, and then it went somewhere. It disappeared totally. Fortunately for the world, that Europeans dug in this knowledge. So you can imagine it took about 1,000 years maybe to pick up this knowledge again, by Lavater. He called it physiognomy back then, and then again Franz Joseph Gall with the cranioscopy, and then you will hear plenty of naming, and then Carl Gustav Jung, who doesn't know that, the characterology, and you have the prosopology, and you know, it goes on and on. Maybe some people, they know it as phrenology, but it's quite different. And somatotopic, it's like, I will go through them again. But what happened in 1937, a French doctor, that's why the Société Française de Morpho-psychology, that was founded by Dr. Louis Cormont. Louis Cormont, he was a psychiatrist. Actually, he was like the former manager of the adult Paris Saint-Louis Hospital of Psychiatry, and the founder of the Santiago de Nantes Hospital of Child Psychiatry Services. The guy was a psychiatrist. He took everything, okay, and he did the study over 20 years. So you can imagine that. The guy went diving into this information for around 20 years, and it is still under development. We still, you know, put portraits and work on them in order to get like some sort of a theory over it and put it in a frame of work and body of knowledge and a very specific way to analyze in order to get the best of it. So you can imagine how many, like tens of thousands of faces were analyzed to get what I will be talking about now. So now you heard about Louis Cormont. I will ask you a question now. Maybe you're seeing this in front of you. So which, in your opinion, is faster, the red train or the blue train? So basically, some will think it's a no answers. Anyone? Someone gonna speak? Yes, please. I need an answer. Otherwise, I'll not continue. I'll just sit here.
You can all unmute yourself and talk or type it into the chats. Blue or red? Come on. Who is for blue or
blue or red? Blue or red? Who's in for blue? Who's in for red?
The white one.
No, it's the blue,
the red one
obviously.
Isn't moving. It's not moving. The white one.
Yeah, but you know, if we look at them, which one you think it's faster?
It's the blue, but because it's moving, blue that's all.
Okay, because it's
that's
moving.
That's the trick.
Let's do something else. You want to move your house, okay? And then who can help you move? Okay, now people will look at the rock and will say, like, especially women, they'll say like, "Ooh, I would like him to help me." But let's look at it this way. Who would you think will help you to move?
First one.
To move what? The
To
house?
move things. You have a piano in the house. You have a big fridge, a huge sofa.
The bodybuilder.
Yeah, basically something like that. So I'll go through that again. So which dog is, like would win the race?
For the first one.
Exactly. So you will look at them and you see like there are some traits, okay, that you look at it, it's like like the greyhound is like a snake with feet. It's like so aerodynamic, it goes fast, and it's like, and the bulldog is like, sitting there. It's like frontal, just squashed the face. The same as with the train. You look at the train, it looks like a door with wheels, like a huge fridge on a track. And the TGV on the other side with 300 kilometers per hour, it looks with the aerodynamic, you can see it inclined this way. Yet on the other hand, if you look at those two, which one would help you? I can tell you one thing. Okay, maybe he has the muscles, but he doesn't have the
energy.
speed of thinking. The speed of thinking. Maybe this guy, the small guy, will come in with quite a nifty trick and will move your piano by putting some oil on the floor and just push it, while the other one trying to lift it. So it doesn't mean anything. So that's why once you just dive into it, you get your perception about the size, the shape, and everything. You have a perception based on the shape, on the facial, on the build, everything. So morphopsychology does not impose any predispositions. So if your face will look like that, it doesn't mean like you can do something this and that in real life. But what are your possibilities and what are your capabilities? I will talk about things related to work. So how some people, then they don't fit in a certain job just because they are such and such. So what is it after all? It is, by definition, the studying of the personality of an individual by facial features. That's the definition. Okay. And this is exactly what we do. Morpho-psychology is in no way related to the degree of psychologists. You can have a degree in psychology, yet you will not study morpho-psychology. But if you study morpho-psychology on top of that, like you do, like you study any technique, it will help you tremendously in analyzing the person in front of you and speak to them with the language they understand. On top of that, you can identify traumas based on the facial characteristics, and you can just talk to them in a way to make them go unfold faster. And the term morpho-psychology was created by Dr. Louis Cormont in 1937, as I said, before the status of psychologists exists. So back then there were psychiatrists. There weren't any psychologists. There was psychology, but the psychologist term was used as a psychiatrist. So he came up with the term morpho-psychologist in 1937, way before the term of psychologist, not the psychology. Now, because some people that tell, no, that was like a long time ago. I know. But as a psychologist, the term was created way after the creation of the morpho-psychologist. Anyway, so what we will know exactly, what we do, we will look at the vital resources, the way that the fatigability, or called in French fatigabilité, or the tiredness, the way if we have the resources for it, how we contact with others, how we interact, the privilege approaching modes. Are they shy? Are they introverted? Or they are closed? They're open. The privilege operating mode. Are they fast, swift, or they take their guards and they wait? So this is what we will do. So basically, if we look at the first two, actually it's the first one rule of morpho-psychology. We call it the rule of expansion and retraction. So in your opinion, which tree would attract more birds? The expanded one or the retracted one?
Type in or say, just unmute yourself.
So
and just
basically, it's I guess, you know, for me, it's a big one. That should be it, you know. So the big tree, it's a form of expansion. So the rule of expansion goes like an extroversion. This is nature, and then you have the small tree, long and just very long, and it's quite, maybe it will attract eagles, but not small birds, and not many as much as but actually this big tree, it will attract bats, you know. You can attract, you know, plenty of insects, butterfly. It can attract everything. So what will happen here? You have to remember, it's always about understanding and never judging. And it's a major rule, because every single one of us who started with the morpho-psychology, we ended up in the beginning, this guy is this and that, and then we start analyzing them like any, you know, psychology major student that will go and then give a label for everyone. If you go doing that, you will shoot yourself in the leg, and then you will not be able to advance. Actually, my personal hobby was to I jumped a lot in airports. It was my favorite hobby is to sit at the airport and just start analyzing faces. It was amazing. Actually, you end up being like you wake up, you open your eyes, you're a morpho-psychologist, you sleep, you are a morpho-psychologist. You read every single person's face just like that. It just happens automatically. So what seems to be some sort of a very complicated process, it becomes a habit, and then it becomes automatic. So you can imagine what you can benefit. So how does it work? Before I dive into that, I would like to remind you about the major things, okay? It is no question for a morpho-psychologist to read the thoughts or to know. We're not like mind readers, okay? So we don't know how would a person react based on his shape. It's like a snapshot of who he is now or who she is now. But there's no possible way to know how would they react. How might, yeah, but how would they react? It's impossible. So morpho-psychology is studying the personality of an individual based on their facial features. So it is not about gesticulation nor the body language. And the knowledge, behavioral, and dominant traits of a person do not, like the rock, you know, with the muscles, do not determine his reaction at a moment in time. So he can have plenty of muscles, but he can be, now you will get used to the wordings, a frontal. It means that he will wait, you know, adapt, and then reacts, rather than being an inclined face where he can goes like a TGV for the thing. We only talk about the dominant features. So if someone has a big nose, we will talk about his big nose. We will not talk about, you know, a normal chin, but it's a combination. So we don't take just the things bit by bit. So it's a combination of all the facial features. And the morpho-psychologist is not an artist nor a clairvoyant. Okay, we don't go drawing things, or we don't just predict the future. We use a very accurate grid. So now you will see it, and now you'll know what I'm talking about. So our procedure will go this way. We study the proportions of the face, okay? The width, the height, you know, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the flesh, okay? So it's like plump, like, or like that. The form, is it round, inclined, straightened? It depends. The most important volume in the height. Now you will, in a bit, you will know what I'm talking about when it comes to the important volumes, because the face will be divided into zones, and then we discuss the most important zone among the zones that the face has. And on the other hand, you have the most important volume in the side. Actually, if you put like this way, you will be able to get more information also, as well as curves, forms, proportions. You know, you could have a big face with small eyes, or just a small face with big eyes, big nose, big mouth, and that will make a huge difference in the way people react. So we're going to start with the what we talked about is the vital reserves. We talked about the vital reserves, you know, the proportion, the face width and height. So we have what we call a dilated, okay, like expanded, and we have the retracted. So you can see a huge, big, round ball in the beginning. This guy that's the perfect dilated. By the way, this person doesn't exist. Okay, it doesn't exist. If you go searching for a dilated person, a big person, you will not find. The only dilated being is, if we go back, it's the egg. You know, the female egg. It's dilated. It's a perfect dilation. It's round, and the perfect retraction is the sperm. It's a perfect retraction, but no one can, you know, remember how they were, if they were dilated or retracted. But in this case, if we get a bit, you know, advanced in time, after 9 months, you will get a dilated being. So when you look at the baby, you see the baby is round. You know, he wants everything, you know, like to himself. He wants to interact with everyone. He's there. And when you are so dilated, when you don't have any retraction, you're in stagnation mode. You don't move forward. You know, the baby when they're born, I don't think a baby gets like is born and then goes running. No, the babies are fully dilated. You look at their face and it's like a big bowl of flesh. So so if we go this way and we look at the retracted face, the retracted face is like the greyhound. Okay, it's like this guy at the end is a perfectly retracted person. If this person existed, you know, if I will point out with the mouse pointer. I don't know if you're seeing it. This guy here, if it existed, this guy is in no shape or form will be able to sit still. You know, will be in continuous movement. Now you might ask, you know, is there any, you know, like half and half, 50-50, a dilated and a retracted person at the same time? If this person existed, these powers will neutralize each other. And you end up like with also a stagnation, kind of non-movable on all levels, even emotional. So now, you know, you look at people, usually dilated people, what they're like extroverted, like the big tree. They want to interact with everyone. They want to talk to everyone. They want to, you know, like a dilated person, you cannot just stand there and wait for them to shut up. You know, you have to cut them through. While if you have a retracted person, they will go to a doctor and then they will sit. Nothing. No. How are you? Fine. That's it. There. So if you're trying to interact with a dilated person, actually there are plenty of, like I said, like millions of personalities, but we're taking the two extremes here just for the sake of giving you an idea. If you look at the dilated person and the retracted person, you will be able to notice, actually each one of you knows someone who is like that, almost like that. So do your tests today. Now, if we go to the eyes and nose and mouth, what do we do with the eyes, nose, and mouth? Usually, we exchange, okay? We see things, we smell things, we talk, okay? So it's even the ears will talk at the end about them. So these, like, they are the absorbents, they are the receptors of the world. So you can imagine if you have a big eyes, are they like, they can see specific things, or they can see like a spread spectrum of view? What do you think?
probably a wide spectrum.
Yeah, exactly. And if you see someone with a small mouth, do they talk a lot, or? I don't think so. So if they are the proportional we're talking about, so we're talking about the face and the proportion of the, the eyes, the mouth, and the nose. So they eat their words. Yeah, exactly. So if we go even deeper in that, we have the face, the frame of the face. You can see it in the green square. When we frame the face, we look at the receptors that we call the small face, in French, le petit visage, that is triangular shaped. Like if we reference them like to each other, if you compare them, in comparison, you can see them this way. So you can see Miss or Mrs. Minelli, her eyes, her mouth, she has big receptors, in comparison with the frame of her face. And that's what we say, like, she's a reactive person. She's like, I get everything from the outside and I have to talk about it. And she's like, fast, she talks a lot, she interacts a lot, she makes, like all the, and anything in the whole world will affect her deep inside immediately, because she's not, impermeable, she's not whatever, guarded, shielded toward the external world due to the opening of her eyes. But if we look at the man on the left, you can see it very clearly. You have a big frame and a very, very small receptors and small face. What that means, okay, I like to be open, but only with the things that I feel like being open to. And I only share what I want, and I only let anything that I'm interested into to see. So this guy is very analytical, very what I call it, like sharp eyes. That he can be very selective, and if he speaks about something, it means, whoa, it means a lot, because he barely speaks. He doesn't share. Okay, so you can see the difference between these two now. So now you started seeing things differently in people's faces. Now you have two. We only talked about like nothing now. It's only the frame and the small frame, and you already have a big idea of what's gonna go next. Now, if you go to the face's flesh, okay, all these plumbing things on the face, it's about the flexibility and adaptation to the surrounding. So we have what we call the tonicity of the face, of the flesh. Is it tonic? Like I don't know, Carlos Wilson, like someone like very, very tonic, as if they had a facelift to the back, or is it atonic, that is very going down, like the face is very like stretchy and mellow. In this way, when you have the flesh and the thickness of the flesh versus how does it look like, will give you an idea. How do they adapt to their surrounding? Are they with the I call it like the laissez-faire? Okay, you can see someone like very like that, like the droopy, droopy from the cartoon, by the way. Droopy in the cartoon is like, you know what, I'm happy. Even if they're happy, they just don't do anything about it. And if you look at it on the other side, you look at Scooby-Doo. Okay, he's like very, very tonic, just like strong, like boop, boop. You see him like he's all over the place. So if we look at it this way, you have the flesh and the way the flesh is modeled. Okay, so it's like you're shaping some sort of pottery. So the way the flesh is modeled, it will tell you how the person will be dealing with the outside world. Are they diplomatic? Are they very stiff and rigid? Are they You know, like how do they deal with the problems? Are they, you know, they can be penetrated by the outer world or not on the relational, you know, like the flexible kind of manner. So if we look at them, now we're back to the rock. This guy keeps popping up. So the operating mode, okay, I'll give you a small hint, by the way. The face looks like the body, okay? I will tell you why later on. So if we looked at them, you know, if we look at, you know, from left to right, you have the round, you have the inclined, we call it rétracté latéral, and you have the straightened. So some people, you look at them as if they had a door shut to their face. You know, they're so frontal. They're just like the bulldog, like we talked about it, like the train we saw in the beginning, the red train. Looks very, very poof, like that. So these people, they have a certain way of operating. They don't go, they just charge into the problem. They just wait, you know, as if like, I wait and see, I analyze, and then I will react. While the lateral, the inclined person, it's like the greyhound. I see thing, I go for it. That's it. They're so active that just, you can't stop them. While on the other side, you have the Gérard Depardieu type, the round, okay? They're, as we said, they're like babies. Okay, they move, they talk, they interact, they, you know, they're like that. So you cannot, you know, even if you want to argue with them, they will be talking forever. So if someone is married to someone like that, I feel pity. Anyway, by the way, there are no good or bad characters, as you know, this is not, we're not judging here, we're just understanding. Now we go back to the most important volume, you know, in the face. Okay, so, and it's the mobility fundamentals. How do this person mobilize his reserves? You know, how do they interact? How do they think a lot? Do they feel a lot? Do they you know, like want to go by instinct, like the as we say, the crocodile brain kicks in? Are they very physical? Are they very, you know, like sentimental, or are they mental? Not mental as in crazy mental, but do they have cerebral you know, capabilities? And then we have the most important volume in the side. Actually, we're going to go in detail in these, but I'm telling you, every point we go through it bit by bit. And basically, you have the harmony, the curves, the forms, the proportions. As we said, the big face, the small face. And then if you can look at the, I'll talk a bit about these two photos. If you look at the woman on the left, do you see something strange? No? Her left side looks squashed. Yes, as if she has two faces. No? She looks like she has two faces. You know, look at her. You have like, yeah. And then if you look at Henry VIII, 7 wives, yeah, exactly, asymmetry, Elena, that's it. Actually, you're a morpho-psychologist. Do I know these kind of words? We use them like our daily bread. So, you know, Henry VIII, look at, there's something weird about Henry VIII also, you know, based on what we talked about before. It's a drop quiz, by the way. I'm not going to put notes, but anyway, no grades. So do you have anything weird about Henry VIII? I'll give you a hint. Square triangle.
Very square face.
Square face versus a small triangle. Look at his face. His face looks like a huge screen with 3 dots in it. 2 eyes and 1 mouth. It's like, if I want to depict this in voice, it's like Henry VIII have a face, 2 eyes and 1 mouth. This is how it goes. And it means a lot. This guy is brutal. He can just, he is not easily affected. You can see his tonic face. It's like a huge face with a very straight, like flesh with very small receptors. So this guy, the world can be destroyed around him. He can just kill a whole village and nothing will change for him. Life goes on. So we just analyzed someone with a huge asymmetry on the, she's very asymmetrical, by the way, on the left. And basically, she's either on the verge of mental illness or there's a huge problem there. Now, somebody will tell me she's hemiplegic or she had some sort of stroke or something. No, she's not. Okay, she didn't have that. So if you look at it, most of the artists, by the way, this harmony or this difference of the face on the two sides, you can, I bet you, if you go on the internet and search for artists, I mean creative artists, you will see it. This kind of, internal conflict between what they were and what they are and how it goes, it can create, like amazing, innovation or creativity. But what lies between creativity and being insane? Like sanity and creativity, you can cut, on a very short thread. So if you go through that and look at it, some people, they can go to totally berserk, and some people, they can go very creative. But as you know, plenty of creative people, they slid the line of insanity. Maybe they committed suicide, or I'm not going to talk about like suicidal things. And now the politically correct people will hit me on the face. But anyway, like some people, they will go crazy. Real crazy, we're not talking on this and the kind of sugarcoating things. Insanity can cut in between when it comes to a huge asymmetricity in the face. So now you know plenty of things. Should I leave or I continue? So what we do, the measurements, as I said, there were like volumes of the face. Okay, we have 3 different levels. We have the instinctive level, here. You have the affective level or the relational level, and you have the cerebral level. So you can see them where we measure them. Other schools, they may measure them over the eyes. We don't do that in SFM. We do it this way because after 20 years, I guess the guy was right. Asymmetry. Sorry, what about asymmetry in the body? Is it the same? And morpho-psychology, we don't do body. That's why we said it's reading the facial characteristics based on that. But I will tell you one thing, that's Elena. I will tell you one thing about why did I put the body next to the face here. There's a reason, I guess. If you look at the face and we put it just in relation with the body, the lower part is like your lower part from the waist down. It's the movement, okay? The way the possibility of achieving things, the way you can react. You can't move without the lower part. So the movement of the person goes with the lower part, and that is resided here. And what is there with the lower part also? Genitals, okay? So it's about, sexuality. We eat, okay? Plenty of things. So the lips by themselves, they are also a way to indicate the need for, let's say, all the instinctive stuff like money, sex, and food. So that's why sometimes you see all the, if you look at the cabarets or something, people, they just make their lips bigger. What does that mean? Maybe they don't know, but there's an internal need for that. And based on that, I will tell you one thing. It's a secret. Don't tell anyone. If you do a plastic surgery and your character is so imposing, believe me, later on it will be back like it was. Maybe if you have a long nose with a a bit bone or cartilage or something, okay, it's like that, and then you have this thing like that, and then you go to the plastic surgeon. You say like, I want a smaller nose. Okay, great. We break this one and we make it shorter. That's perfect. And then if your character is so non-changeable, what will happen? The cartilage will grow back again, but you'll have a shorter nose, but this grows back again. And there's a meaning for that too. Weird. So basically, when we talked about the lower part, that's the instinctive part, where the money, the activity, the sex, and the food, basically. That's the biggest part down there, and this is where you see the possibility of achieving. So the chin itself, it means like if you have a very pointed chin to the forward, it means that you have like this passion in achieving your projects, your plans, your work. You're so anchored in what you're doing. And you look at the jawline. The jawline itself, it means you have like a physical force. If you have the neck, like thick neck, you have the physical force to achieve that. It is possible to do it. So if you go back to Mr. Dwayne the Rock Johnson, you will look at it: thick neck, big low jawline. The chin is very forward. I need that. It's someone who can go very fast into achieving his goals. Now, if we go back to the affective part, or ZA, zone affective on the in French, sorry for that. Spoiler alert. Affective, and the affective zone, you have all the way that you are passionate about things. The relational part, we call it. So usually when we stand to talk about someone, with someone, you stand facing them. If you are introverted or shy, you just protect your middle part. Okay, you just put it like that, or you put it like that, and then this is the part where you have relation. So as Professor Jordan Peterson say, stand with your shoulder back, and usually, so you have to expose your chest, shoulders back. It feels like, okay, you have the openness to interact with other people, and this is the zone where you interact with people. Usually, actually, we say like someone is nosy. Okay, that's something really funny. When you say someone is nosy, what does that mean? He's nosy. Yeah, exactly. Overlaying with hashur. Very, like I want to know everything about everything. There was once a joke. That one nosy person, they told him, "Stop your nosiness. We'll give you half of the world." He said, "Before I do that, can you tell me who will get the other half?" So these people, they cannot stand still and not knowing. And if we look at it, the nosy person, that comes from nose, and this is the nose. This is the way we project it toward the other. So you can see it. Okay, maybe you have friends who didn't cut their nose yet, but you can see them. People with very very projected nose. They are so. I want to know more. I want to know more. I want to talk to you. And depends. Okay, so it's a combination. If you have a very small, like mouth with basically no flesh on the lips and a very long nose, that means they will get things frustrated inside, because they want to know, but they don't want to ask. So you can imagine. Now we have only two. We talked about the nose and the mouth. So you can imagine that. But the nose itself, this is a small part of the nose. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know mine. How does it look like? in this, what we call it lobule, this small bubbly stuff on the nose in front, it means how much the person is into like the touchy-feely thing. We're not talking erotical in whatsoever shape or form, but sometimes you can see women that they have the we call the ne pointu with nothing here. It goes like that. Some people, they think they are very chic with that nose. Basically, this nose means I don't want to touch or nor be touched by anyone. Period. So some people, they are so, even their children, they don't show any affection to them. It's like, how big is, if you put some ink on your nose and you put a point on a screen or a board, you might see, how much you like it. It's like having a big Sharpie marker versus a 0.2 pencil. This is how much it's the difference between, that's the nose. So if we go through the nostrils, how open are they? How closed to the inner side? It means how open to talk to other people, and how reserved the person is, how they get their guard. If you look at the nose that goes backward like that, it means I introvert toward myself. I'm a baby. Usually we call it like a baby and baby nose. What does a baby, like how does a baby operate? Give me. I want to eat. I want to be held. I want. Nose back. I want everything to me. I will not give you anything except my diapers. Anyway, so this is a small bit. And then we go back to the cerebral zone. Okay, if I talk about that, it will take you, each part of these is a week, by the way. So the cerebral part, as it is mentioned, it's the way where we think. So I'll give you an example. Usually, you can see, some people say like he's a big thinker. Most of the time, they give you the picture of someone who thinks with a, like the hair is flying with a huge, what do you call it, forehead. This part here, it's where the analysis, where the observation, where the thinking goes, and how does it flow from here to the execution. It all depends on the inclination of the head. Okay, so if someone frontal, like the bulldog, he will think, he will analyze, and waits to execute. If someone is lateral, he will think. We're talking about the same head, by the way. I will go through just bits and pieces now. And then the ideas will flow, and then they will execute them. Most of the what do you call them? The stand-up comedians, they have a very fast way of thinking and acting. So just look at them, you will see like a very fast inclination here. Whew, that was a lot. Are you still with me? Who's there? Yeah, great. Are you happy? That's perfect. So, asymmetry. We talked about the woman with the
Danielle, it is so much and so overwhelming that people are like, don't know what to say because it is so interesting and so much information. So keep going.
Okay. So if we're talking about the asymmetry, and we talked about the woman on the edge of insanity. So how did I know that? How this? I'm not like, as I said, I'm not a clairvoyant. I'm not a mind reader. But there are plenty of indicator and different, like, and the volumes and the shape of the face, and the way the face is going. Is it like dilated, or some? It could be like atonic on one side and tonic on another side. So all works in combination. Sorry for that. So if I look at it, the face is divided in two. We call them in French hémiphase. Okay, I will be using plenty of maybe French to English kind of translation because it's French after all. So we're divided into hemifaces or semi-faces, the left and the right. Okay, that's perfect. That's good. And 3 zones. We just said that. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then we go analyzing them. And asymmetry could exist in the width. So you can imagine, like the woman, you have one part, actually, some people, you look at them, you will see like they have like a squashed one part here on the right and a plumb part on the left. So, and in the height, the woman there, she was like that, you know, something like going down from here, going up from here. So that's asymmetry. And then, sorry for that, in depth. Why the depth? There's a cross, we call it the cross of Pulte and Gary. There's a proportion, like 1/3, 2/3. If this is not respected, there is a dissymmetry and asymmetry in the way the person may think and act. So if we go for the measurements, usually with children, we only use the cross. That's what I was talking about. And if we could put it this way, if we put the person in profile, you will look at it in the quadrants A, B, C, D. You have the cerebral activity, okay, how much they think, okay. And the quadrant B in the back, what we say actually in the back of their head. Why do we say things we don't? Why? And then it appears that there is a reason why we say in the back of our head. It's the imaginary receptivity. So you can as like morpho-psychologist / hypnotherapist, sometimes I just look at the person by, like at that profile, at the side, and I know, how imaginative they may be. And sometimes their imagination is not that big, so you go with a different way. And as a psychotherapist, you can go also, and when you go through them all, you will have quite a good idea. Now, on the C side, the quadrant C here, as we say, the jawline, the way, the physical activity, how do they act and react? While the instinctive receptivity is in the back here. So sometimes if you look instinctively, instinctive receptivity, like the crocodile brain and stuff, you see all these people who are like, they want to go and fight. You don't see an inclination on the neck. You see the head is just as if it was stuck on the shoulders. It's like one big piece. So you feel like, they don't have any receptivity of all that. They just like go and charge and kill you. So, and with the kids, you have the 1/3, 2/3, starting from the cerebral activity on the E, and then you have, and you have the imaginary receptivity. So if you have a child, in front of you, you can just see that. If you don't have, go buy one. No, that's a bad joke. You look at it, you see the child. They have a big head. They are so imaginary. They live there in their imagination. And then they have a small bump. You see there, most of them, they have this, the forehead is quite, like curved. What does that mean? They are so, they think a lot. Basically, they are, like a sponge, but they live in their imagination. That's basically. So if I go and mix and match, I will show you, the faces and how do they change if we just change one simple component. So it looks like the same girl. Actually, I'll put it left and right, and you will see there's quite a difference in the perception. If I put it this way, just by changing the lips, okay? She has, we call it atonie, she's atonic on the lips. You have these here, they are quite down. You feel like she's sad. And usually what we say when we see someone, probably someone of your friends, they have the lips like that. It means like they have suffered a bit somehow, somewhere in time. So basically you see like a happy face, a sad face. You turn it this way, a sad face, a happy face. So it's nothing changed. if I want to take this guy, by example, okay, how would you think something will change with that? And you will be amazed. At this person here, you will look at the lips. The lips, as we said, it's an indicator for I love probably money, sex, or food. Okay, it depends on the way they are, the flesh on the lips and how much red is there. But if you look at these lips here, as if someone had a mask and they cut it open with a razor blade, that there's no lips there. There's just one line. Just by looking. So it's, if I just go back, this person looks the same. If I put it this way, we have a kind person, and we have a very dry, rigid kind of school principal person. Okay, I don't talk much. I don't relate to you. I'm not interested in anything. That's it. That's the person. The other guy, he can talk to you like for hours and be, you know, like joyful and happy. Though both of them, we call them dilated, expanded. So the way they interact, as we said, the way they react, it's, yeah. Exactly. Many politicians, by the way, they have big ears, and I will tell you why later on. You can you can look at their lower lips also. That's a secret. Don't say it to anyone. The lower lips, if the upper lips is small and the lower lips is going down, there is some. Okay, don't look at your friends and say later on, Danielle told me that if your lips is down, it means you're a liar, but there's the capability of lying. So, so I guess Muna is just being amazed now. So,
well, my lower lips are much bigger than my upper lips, so I'm just thinking, I'm not lying.
No, I'm not. Yeah, but you're imaginative. You can tell plenty of stories that don't exist. Right. You can create stories when you talk about things. You can create stories, and very convincingly you can tell people that, and they are convinced. This is what you do usually when you do an hypnosis. Yeah. Okay. So, it doesn't mean you're lying, but there's the way you present it. It will be given though it doesn't exist. Anyway, so we go back to this again. We have a big mouse and we have a small mouse. So I'm going to give you back the photo. So these are the same girls, and we move it on. It's the same thing, okay? So if you look at it, it's the same photo, same everything. And if you look at it this way, we look at the mouse and it says a lot, okay? It's the same eyes, everything. It's not like the eyes will say something, but you look at it, a bigger mouth with a tonicity on the mouth, it means like, I am, you know, like proud, happy, and the small mouth with lots of, you know, like the charnu, or the flesh here. It's like okay, I can't talk much. I don't have a big mouth, but I want a lot. So whatever I need on the affective level, sorry, on the instinctive level, I can talk about it a lot. Maybe I will say it, but I will stay shut. That's why you end up being a bit sad. Now, I call it Nicolas Cage, though it was drawn way before Nicolas Cage was born. Anyway, so this guy, if we look at him, we have two things that we have changed here. Actually, three things. The first thing, look at the nose, okay? If we look at them from here up there, so we have the cerebral zone is the same, okay? So, and we go back down. If we get the affective zone or the relational zone, the nose here is straight, okay? And quite the nostrils are okay. The nose on the other one is a bit inclined and going to the inside. It's like some sort of an introvert. Actually, it says my way or the highway. That's my thing. I do these things. I do it my way. So almost here, while I'm open to what people will get. So I want relationships with people so I can control them. On the other side, you can look at the lips. The lips here are pretty much normal. You know, like you have the thickness of the lips is quite good. You know, very as if it was artistically drawn. These people, we say they are like gourmet, but not gourmand. Like, yeah, they are very selective in things. They don't eat anything, you know, out of like, I want to eat anything. No, they are very selective. They want things their way. They like food, but they like very, you know, the presentation of the food, the things that we look at it this way. Anyway, but the other guy is just looking at this guy is a very tonic jawline. The other guy, you can see the flesh. It's all over here, and the chin is down, and the lips are. What does that mean? Okay, I don't act fast, you know. Just give me food, anything, you know. It can. You just look at it, and you will see things this way without me talking about it. Okay. So, is that weird or not? So, if we continue. Now there's a huge difference here. If we put it this way, as we said about the chin, you know, being anchored in the realizing the realization or the execution of their job or their projects or plans in life. You see the jawline, the chin, everything like that. You know, the way the lips are made. You know, like it's like very open to life. While the other one is atonic. You see the face is quite thin, longer than larger, and you know, okay, I can do this. Okay, whatever, give it to me. You know, they're a bit pessimistic. It is not because of the, you know, if I look at it, they're the same. Change two components, and it's a different person, a different character actually. Okay. This guy, really interesting. Actually, it scares me. Look at that. That's the same guy, okay? Just by changing the chin, the double chin, the lips, this guy goes from, I don't know, an SS German agent in World War II to a professional, I don't know, pedophiliac. Look at him, just by seeing that, okay? I'll just do it back and forth. The way, the jawline, the punch, the power, the everything, you know, the physical, you know, execution, the neck, the jawline, the lips that, okay, I'm very stiff, I'm very dry from emotions, to this guy that is like, I just put things up front. I want to eat, have sex, make money, do whatever I have to do to fulfill my instinctual needs. So it's funny, huh? So I posted once a photo of soldiers. You can fetch it on the net. Soldiers, how they morphed when they went to Afghanistan and came back, you know, after the war. And you will see the changes that they went through. So you will see what parts of their face will retract and what sides of their face will expand. So in this case here, we're gonna look at the past and the present of the person. So now you will see how we read people like books, like actually faces like books, and especially in clinical practice when people they come. Let's put it this way. I didn't talk about it because it's a bit complicated, but I'll put it this way. If you go like a fender bender, an accident with a car, and you hit like against a lamppost or a wall, you would have a bent, whatever it is, a door or whatever, and it shows. And the face is the same. If you get a shock in your life on any level, okay, it will go in, like as if you had an accident. So basically, here, the apples here, if someone had a shock in their life, okay, the squash part, it will be like that. So some people you may see, you know, within your friends or maybe yourself, you look at yourself in the mirror or friends, and you will see there is one part here that had an emotional shock. You will see this part as if someone crushed it. Okay, so sometimes you see people with the eyes quite in, and maybe they saw something that shocked them. And so anything that goes in, it's like a retraction. I got afraid from something. Okay. So basically, if you get the children in your practice, and you see that the mouse is a bit back. It's an example, by the way. I don't want anyone from my friend to be a bit angry about it. But most of the kids, actually boys that were raised by military or soldiers or officers in the house, their father is part of that, with a very sharp discipline where the father can talk and they have the right to express themselves. With all due respect, go check yourself on the mirror. You will see your mouth is a bit going to the inner side. Anyway, so we talk about the past and the present. So the right side of the face, I like to call it the, let's put it like that. It's like a warrior. You have the, what do you call it? The sword on the right. Okay, corresponds to the activity and sensitivity. Like the left side of the brain, all the analysis, the solving, all the things that you want to do, the reflects, the expression and insertion of the personality in the world. So it's like about the society, the profession. That's the now and the future. That's the present. That's the right side. By the way, this is only applicable, well, not only, almost like 80-20, applicable for the right-handed people. The left-handed people, it depends on the left-right side of the brain. So sometimes it get a bit, like not uncertain. If we go through the analysis, we know it. But if you want to take it as a rule, just to test it and have fun, basically right-handed people, the right side of the face is their present. Okay. And the left side of the face corresponds to the motricity. It's like we call it like the shield. The warrior, you get the shield with the left and the sword with the right. So they shielded with the left side. So corresponds in the motricity, sensitivity to the right part of the brain. All the emotions what happened in their past, everything that they went through. So it reflects the sensitivity to oneself, their inner self, their inner communication, how they talk to themselves, okay? How they act and react with themselves, not with the other people. So the right side of the face is rather the outer sides of the personality, how they react with the outer world, and the left side is the inner part, the sensitive and deep part. Okay, so you can see it this way. Basically, there is no. Okay, maybe there are some people, they are really symmetrical. The left and the right, they are so symmetrical. And they are the autistic children. Autistic children, they have faces of an angel. There are no conflicts inside them. They live in a different world. So if you get a photo of an autistic child, you split it in half, you put the left side and the right side together, you'll have the same face. While you get anyone on planet Earth, if you split their faces left and right, you'll get different faces. Look at this guy. That's him. You get the left face, and you get the right face. You look at the left face. The left face is a bit expanded. He was into receptivity. He was, like living. It was fine for him, almost. And then the now actually person, the present person, you look at him, it looks more mature, no? He's more selective, the eye is a bit shut, the mouth is not as, like, flashy like the other one. You see the ears are a bit, advanced. I want to listen more, I want to get more, I want to be very selective, and I want to defend myself, because you can see the nose is retracted too. I don't want to deal with plenty of people like I did before, though I had my guards on. Okay. And if you look at the left part, they are both right-handed, by the way. The left part on the guy underneath, The left part is more expanded. You can see there's a huge difference. And the right part is quite straight, you know, like very, and in both ways he's like tonic. Okay, so it's what happened. He was expanded to the outer world, and then you can look at his cheekbones. Okay, the apples. You can see, whoops. You can see the you know, here the cheeks, they are squashed. So something happened that shaped his future in a way, or his present in a way that he's not as emotional as he was before. I'll give an example here of Mr. President. You can look at his face. Okay, he used to be a soldier, and then he was the president of France. So plenty of things have changed. You can look at him. He's very tonic here. He's very, you know, like ondulé. It's like his flesh on the face is ups and downs, like, you know, like mountains. So the guy went from a soldier, someone who just goes and speaks in public in a way that this should happen, to someone who's very diplomatic. He just analyzes things and gives things in a quite different way. By the way, look at the lips. You have the lower lips, you know, thicker than the higher one. So that's what actually that was by mistake. So the people, they change. The only thing that doesn't change in the person, do you know what is it? The ears keeps growing until the last day of your life. Yeah, you can see, you know, our grandparents, you know, we look at them, they have like ears like that. Why? Where the hell did you get these ears from? But, you know, not the eye itself, but the look. Okay, you can see kids, you know, small children. You look at their eyes, they scare you. Jesus, when you look at them and like they're so piercing, you know, and they grow up. So they grow up, they change the face, but the look is the same. Most of the time, like 99.99% of the time, the look is there. It's it. You see, like he has just that look. I cannot forget about it. So the look will persist. Everything else will change. I will talk about the ears. Remind me if I forget. So we're going to have a small case study. It's going to be funny. Okay, I'm not going to take any real people, because if I took real people, some people, they will tell me, yeah, okay, can you do this and that, and you do this and that, and you're right and you're wrong. So I decided to take Lucky Luke. Actually, thanks to a French, guy who did Lucky Luke, and it was quite inspiring. So I took his idea, and it was quite good, and it's a very good way to describe things. We both from the same society, so what the hell? I'm not getting any plagiarism on that, but it's quite nice. So if we look at Lucky Luke, how do you see Lucky Luke? If we don't know what Lucky Luke does, okay, let's say we have a picture of someone who looks like that, and we want to analyze him. We look at the face. He has a longer face, very retracted, squashed, okay, and you know, the eyes open. So he's not expanded. This is like, he doesn't have this kind of a dilated, large. Yet you look at the small face, the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. They are very close to the frame. So he's like very, you know, like reactive. Plus, if we look at him, he looks like, I want to stay alone, retracted. He's an expert and accurate. Okay, look at the eyes. He's like very selective, and he knows what he's doing. And why is he an expert? Look at the chin. He's like anchored in the now. He knows what he's doing and how he's gonna do it. And if you look at the left and right side, as we said, by the way, he's right-handed. Why he's right-handed? I went on the net. I saw some pictures with him drawing the his gun, and he draws his gun with the right hand. So that's why I know. I don't know him in person, by the way. So the guy is, if we look at him on the left side, Okay, if you look the left and the right side, his left, by the way, not my left or your left, it's his left. So if you look at him, you see a bit of a flash. Sorry, on the here on the, you can see the line here, and you see there is some flesh. So the guy had quite, you know, he can be adapted, okay? And on the his right side, it's pretty much you know, sharp. So there is some possibility of him being affectionate, but not to give a lot, you know, because after all, he wants to stay alone. He can't, you know, adapt to being with plenty of people. So if you get more affectionate, he has to drag someone with him. That's why he drags with him Rantanplan, his small dog. He gets, you know, like, and most of the time he leaves them behind him running. You know, it's not even affectionate to his dog, but yet he cares about him and he cares about other people too. So he's a loner, an expert, accurate, adapted, right-handed. And if we look at his eyes, oh my God, very open, as we said. It's a wide information intake and a very pragmatic person, because, you know, all the flesh, he has you know, the lips and everything. Capable of being warm without being affectionate, because he has the capability, you know, on the, you know, the cheek, but he doesn't want. It's not his strong point anyway. He can retain his powers. Okay, he can, not very for a very long time, because he's retracted. He doesn't have lots of flesh, so he can retain his power. He can. That's why he has to act quickly, so that he draws, he shoots, and everything. It just makes the job done very fast, because if it takes too long, Lucky Luke can't hold it. Okay, otherwise we could have seen Lucky Luke running rather than riding a horse. So you can see the jawline for Lucky Luke and his chin, okay, and the way he looks, okay, and the inclination on the head here. So it's like he acts swiftly. So so he's a quick thinker. The idea goes from here, woo, down immediately, because he has to act fast. A bit affectionate due to this part here, and he has a short-term effort because he doesn't have a conservative powers. So he has to get the job done, shoot, and then ask questions later. So in the summary, if we look at him, Lucky Luke is a lonesome, solitary person, rather than having a party with everyone every day. He doesn't like to be, you know, around many people, though he's warm occasionally. So, however, we must not rule out the fact that he is able really to involve deep feelings, because you can see the lips and the part of the face that is like a bit plummy. So he's not the type of easily attached emotional connections, because he wants to be alone. Okay, that's not his main motivator. It's not his what we call the point forward. He's not like this. That's his specialty. I don't want to be affectionate. He's a killer, for heaven's sake. It doesn't mean who's killing, but he's killing, you know, like bad guys or good guys. But he shoots. As a professional perspective, you know, if you don't know what he's doing, we recommend for Lucky Luke, now we're giving advice for recruitment, we recommend for Mr. Lucky Luke a solitary activity of expertise and specialty. So I don't think Lucky Luke would rather be working in a restaurant serving plates. He will kill the owner. You know, it doesn't work like that. He will not, you know, be able to cope with all the people around him. So if Lucky Luke is only going to be a motivational speaker, I guess some people will be held against the wall. Wherein he can accurately you know, he is accurate and timeliness work, because he wants to finish fast. He can't stand it to wait more, because he doesn't have plenty of force of conservation or conservative forces anyway. He has to, you know, like he cannot do things without analyzing, because he has to act quickly. So he sees, he acts. That's it, and no need for imagination. So I have someone in front of me. He's a bad guy. I shoot. That's it. So a fast, quick, accurate work with quick decision and low point of emotional involvement. if we look at it this way, he has a short effort. He can't do plenty of things at the same time. He just do one thing at a time, and not able to retain his power, as we said. So if we look at it, whoever created Lucky Luke, I don't know if he is a morphopsychologist or not, but if you just go drawing someone who acts fast, swift, he will end up having someone like that in order to reflect, how the person could act or react. So you have to draw him this way, otherwise it won't work. So you can't work. You cannot put like Lucky Luke as some sort of a sumo wrestler on the top of a horse and expect him to just charge like that. So as I said, so I'll give an example. For recruiters, sometimes you will have someone who is very, let's say, skinny, quite, not very extra weighted, and they work as accountants. They sit in a stagnation, and they are, if you look at them, they are inclined or lateral, retracted lateral faced. And these people, they work dynamically. Maybe they could be in sales better, but if they sit there and they work for a very long time, let's give options. This person cannot stand in sitting somewhere doing accounting. I don't know why they chose accounting, but if they sat there for a long time, either they will double in weight and they will change to cope with the type of work they're doing, because it requires someone who sits still, or they run away. Let's take the other bad thoughts away. They will leave. Okay, they will leave, and then they will choose something with more dynamic. Maybe they will end up doing I don't know, being a personal trainer or something. They cannot stand sitting. So either we morph into something to adapt to a certain situation, or we move to a place where we feel okay with it as an environment. So as for the ear, okay, it's not written, but it's talked about a lot. The ear can reflect the self-confidence. Okay, so most of the politicians, they have big ears. Most of the motivational speakers, they have big ears. And if you know someone with small ears during your childhood, and now you know him as a person, or you know her as a person who is working with plenty of talk and managing companies, and just check their ears. They grew exponentially. Okay, so you will see there's a difference. So whenever, if you see someone with small ears, these guys are like, just okay, I'm a bit introverted. And if you see someone with big ears, they had quite a lot of experience in life. They are very self-confident. They know what they're talking about. They know what suits them to talk about anyway. So if we're talking about politicians now, they might be talking whatever, but they have the self-confidence to stand there and spoon feed you something that no one would eat. So basically, that was it. Yay! You made it. So if you're still here, okay, as I said, if you're reading this, we made it. Any questions?
Oh, that was a lot, Daniel. A lot to take in, a lot to understand, a lot of new things, and really, really interesting. Thank you so much. So who has a question, please do write your questions, or if you have a question, unmute yourself. While you're thinking, Daniel, what if someone is really outgoing and has very small ears? What does that mean? What is
outgoing? No, outgoing doesn't mean
no. I
anything.
mean very confident and very talkative and speaks a lot and has a lot, and he has small ears. What does that mean? Why is it like this?
Does that exist?
Yes.
Are you talking about someone?
Yes.
Proportionally speaking to what? proportionally speaking to their length of face, to the large, like the width.
The ears are really small compared to everything.
Yeah, you can send me a photo.
I will.
Now,
I will.
if someone with small ears and this person is outgoing, maybe they are working on themselves. It has been quite some years. You just wait ahead of the line. Okay, there's just a timeline, and you see their ears will grow up. Believe me, it happens. So if this person has been very, very confident in their life,
yeah,
from day one, okay, and then they have small ears, yeah, I need to see the picture.
Okay,
but this is not the rule. Okay, the ears thing, the ear itself is like 10 chapters, by the way, and it has plenty of things in it. But we're talking about just the size. Okay, the size of the ear. Basically, when you grow up self-confident, some people, they go and then they work on themselves. They work on public speaking and plenty of things, and then they go and just like work on their confidence. And at the end of the day, sometimes you see them, sometimes you see them as very outgoing, outspoken. You sit with them, they can't stop talking, but they are quite introverted. I want to stay alone when it comes to be with myself. I don't want to interact with anyone. I just do that because it makes me feel good somehow. So it is not in their nature, but they're doing it. But later on, if the confidence increases, basically the ear size will a bit increase.
Thank you. We have a question here from Eve. I will send you the picture. We have a question for Eve, from Eve saying, thank you very much. Any chance you could prepare a handout for this? It is a lot of information.
I can put handouts, but it's plenty of what I talked about is not in the presentation. So I can give you the presentation, but the thing is, it won't make any use. So anyway, I would urge you to when Muna puts it on YouTube, either you download it from YouTube and just go with the episode, okay, with the what we talked about. And if you have any questions, just send it to me, and I will be more than glad to discuss any part of it, because it's quite, on its own, it doesn't mean quite a lot. It doesn't. I can send it to you, but it's it won't do you any use.
Danielle, maybe I can suggest, if you don't mind, to share the slide.
Yeah, I will share it. I will share it.
The replay, I'll put it just along the replay, because I think the interesting part is where you have the pictures, where you just hide them, and then it is interesting to see that. And this is maybe something where we could use that. So if you don't mind sharing, that would be great.
Yeah, of course.
We have another question. I have a client who went through severe trauma. Suddenly, her dermatologist noticed that her mouth is going down on the right side, the lower lip.
Okay, that's something different. But if we're talking about it has to be tested for, because it went down on the lower lip. Okay, so it's not like I take a picture of something. If we're talking about someone who had trauma in the past, okay, the difference is going to be on the left. If there's something on the right, it means something happened now. But since it is the lips, what kind of trauma was it? That's the major question. So since it is on this zone here, it's on the instinctive zone. So it's something maybe related to, I don't know, they lost lots of money, somebody sacked them somehow. But if you tell me somebody died, it could be someone who, who puts, like food on the table or something like that related to that. It's plenty of, it's not only the lip itself, it doesn't mean a thing. So each component of your face, you can imagine, how many components you have, and do the math of possibilities. So the lip, the shape of the lip, the way it went down, all the control, plenty of things they go into. That's why I said now what I put here is something very simple, and basically it's quite a very extreme, either this or that. But what goes in between as a spectrum, it's indefinite. So basically, if there is a trauma, and we know it's a trauma, so we deal with it. But if where morpho-psychology resides, if you're sitting in your office or clinic and someone came, like a client or a patient, you will be able to notice that there is something wrong that happened. Okay, maybe in the past, maybe now. So some people, you can look at them if they had a very emotional shock in the present, let's say, I don't know, somebody either died or left them or something like that. You will see their right, the present part on the affection side, it will be squashed. Okay, so they lost some affection. Unless someone else's goes into their life, they will have their, like these apples going up. So if you can do no ماشي حالي, that's just fine. Your sheikhs are so basically if we look at students, if you want to do that, with students or your kids or whoever you want, but when things open up, when they go abroad to study, or when they go abroad to have some sort of an experience with language or whatever, when they come back after like 3 months or 6 months, look at their faces and see if they had these plummy things here going up, they had a very good relationship. If they have their squashy stuff. Elena is hiding herself. So it's easy, it's the problem with this thing. It is we make it look so easy, but so seriously complicated. So in case someone comes in, after a trip, and you look at them and see like they are squashed somewhere here, or here. It depends on where. So they had a bad relationship, or they, you can see their chin somewhere flattened. It means that they had a work and didn't work for them. So I don't know. Once I was asked, about the dimples. Some people, they have dimples here. So dimples, actually, they are some sort of a retraction. Okay. So basically, it's a way to soften the thing. So if it goes here, it's some sort of I will soften it, I will control it, and it goes into some sort of a passion, as we say, like it's joy and anger. We put all together, we get the passion. So we are passionate about our work. You see a dimple here, or you see the chin going to the front. And if you have the dimples here, okay, so you're like passionate and like in emotional and relational stuff. And so it goes plenty of components that they go inside. The things here, the streaks, plenty of observation and analysis, and the nose, the bump, the even this here, the hair on your eyelash, like so see with the eyebrows, so every single bit of your face is a whole. You cannot take one thing at a time. It's like we can say like he has a she has a nose that goes back. It means she's this and that. No, it doesn't mean that. And sometimes you see someone. Somebody asked me about the plastic surgery. I talked about how things may come back, but sometimes you look at someone and you feel there's something odd. Okay, you see someone who's like very talkative, she likes people and everything, and you look at her nose, it's small. There is something wrong. And then you ask, did you have your nose done? Did you have a nose job? So how the hell did you know? I say like, it doesn't make sense. What doesn't make sense? Okay, this is my thing. Tell me, did you do a nose job? She said, okay, I had an accident. I had 12 years old. I was 12 years old. So basically, the nose was broken, smithereens, an accident in the car, and the nose was taken away, the cartilage, the small, I don't know what they call them, and then the nose is smaller, but she's very talkative. So it doesn't add up. So you can see the things, it's about, the way things go. And sometimes you see people, they have a big mouth, okay, but the lips are very thin. Okay, they can talk, but it is in no shape or form they have need of all the materialistic stuff, rather than sometimes they get anchored in their job, and they are so emotional. They can talk a lot, but they cannot. They don't. Like money, sex, and food doesn't. Doesn't make any sense for them. All they need is affection and love and relations with other people. And sometimes you can see people with they get in prison, and then you see their zone, the cerebral zone, goes bigger, because it's impossible to execute whatever they're passionate about. So the whole thing here goes down like that, and the head goes bigger on the top. So it's plenty of components that there are in play. So we can talk for ages.
I think we should have done. Maybe we should do a second session to continue. Because so much information. Thank you so much, Daniel.
Thank you. Thank you.
Further questions? I know we've been talking since 1 hour and 45 minutes, so that's crazy, but it is really interesting.
Whoa!
Yeah, I know. Any more questions from anyone?
Okay, this is what happened to us in class. Any questions? If somebody asks a question, we'll hit them with the shoe.
Okay. Well, then I guess I will ask you some private questions later on.
Yeah, of course. You're very welcome. And each one of you, you have the right to send one portrait. I will be more than glad to talk about it. One.
As usual, all the information, the contact information about Daniel will be with the replay, will be on YouTube, and will be on Facebook, will be on LinkedIn, and will be on my website. Once again, if you want to see all replays, the old replays, please go to my website, mindyourpower.org. Go to It's Your Life, all speakers, and you can watch each and every one of them. Now, for all of you who enjoyed that, our next talk is next Tuesday, because we have now weekly talks. So watch out for the email, watch out for the announcement on Monday night and Tuesday on Facebook and on LinkedIn for next Tuesday nights. Again, my call to everybody who does want to speak, who does have an interesting subject, maybe, I don't know if you can top morpho-psychology, but I'm sure that you do have really interesting things to talk about. So if you would like to talk on It's Your Life, if you would want to be part of that, please also send me an email at mona@mindyourpower.org, and you can have the next floor, not the next one or the one afterwards, but we have slots starting in about 1 month. So for now and for everybody, thank you so much for being on the call. I know we had people from a lot of countries. I saw here in Europe, we had America, we had US, we had Lebanon, we had Dubai. I don't know if someone was from anywhere else. Hungary, I know. So I'm sure you enjoyed it. It was really good. Thank you so much for that long time you spent with us here. And also I would like to thank everybody who's watching now on Facebook, because we had it live on Facebook and we have a lot of people on there. And by the way, the replay is on Facebook anytime soon, anytime now, because it was playing all the time. So I love and leave you all tonight, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much, Daniel. It was fabulous.
Thank you all.
Thank you all, and see you hopefully next Tuesday.
Thank you. See you all. Bye-bye.
Daniel, before you leave.
Okay, staying.
What is the rings under the eyes, you know, when it goes in? When it's down here, does it mean something?
Okay, so basically the eyes, when we're talking about the eyes, it's the flesh, okay? The guarding of if you're talking about yourself, if you're talking about yourself, let's say if you're talking about yourself or someone else, I have. Okay, so I will.
Anyway, but that doesn't matter. Everybody knows.
Yeah, no matter. So basically, what guards the eyes? Okay, if you look at the amount of flesh around the eyes, or is it the eyes they come in without a lot of flesh? So the guarding of the eyes. So basically, if the wrinkles or the blackness, it is not only the blackness. So it's the combination of what the eyes will say. So basically, it's related to fatigability, tiredness of long hours of plenty, maybe reading or like staying late. And most of all, if I have to look, straight, if there's a white